Something is changing, quietly, slowly, but undeniably. For a long time, the truth was buried under noise, distractions, and carefully built illusions. Most people walked through life without ever questioning what they were told. But some of you always felt something was different, something was off. And now, the truth is finally being seen. You felt it before anyone said a word. That strange feeling that the world around you was not the full story. Conversations that felt empty. Systems that felt broken. Expectations that never matched what your soul was telling you. While others accepted everything at face value, you kept asking questions. And that is where the journey of the chosen begins. Not with applause, not with recognition, but with discomfort, with awareness, with the quiet realization that you can no longer pretend that everything is normal. Because once your eyes begin to open, they can never fully close again. The moment the truth begins to surface, life often becomes confusing. Things that once made sense suddenly feel meaningless. Paths you once followed begin to feel wrong. People you once connected with may start to drift away. It can feel isolating. But that isolation is often the first stage of awakening. The chosen ones are not meant to move blindly through life. They are meant to observe, to question, to grow in awareness while others remain asleep to deeper realities. This does not make them better than others. It simply means their path requires more awareness, more patience, and more responsibility. Many chosen individuals spend years feeling misunderstood. They try to explain what they feel, but the words never fully capture the depth of their experience. People around them may dismiss their concerns or label them as overthinking. So they learn to stay quiet. But silence does not stop truth from growing inside a person. It only makes the realization deeper, stronger, more undeniable. And eventually, the moment comes when the truth cannot stay hidden anymore. One of the biggest signs of a chosen individual is sensitivity to truth and falsehood. You begin to notice patterns. You sense when something is genuine and when something is manipulative, even when others cannot see it. At first, this ability can feel like a burden. You notice contradictions in conversations. You recognize when systems are built on control rather than growth. You see the masks people wear, and sometimes you wish you could go back to not seeing it. But awareness is not a punishment, it is a responsibility. As awakening deepens, many chosen ones experience what feels like a complete shift in identity. The person they thought they were begins to dissolve. Old beliefs start falling apart. This stage can be uncomfortable. You may question everything, your goals, your relationships, even your purpose. It may feel like the ground beneath you is unstable. But in reality, the ground is not disappearing. It is being rebuilt with truth instead of illusion. Society often reacts strongly to those who begin seeing clearly, not always with anger but with resistance. Because when one person begins questioning the system, it forces others to confront uncomfortable thoughts. And many people are not ready for that. So instead of listening, they dismiss. Instead of exploring, they defend the familiar. This is why many awakened individuals feel pressure to stay silent about what they see. But the truth has a strange way of surfacing over time. Another challenge chosen individuals face is loneliness. Not because they want to be alone, but because genuine connection becomes rare when awareness grows. Surface-level conversations begin to feel exhausting. You crave honesty, depth, meaningful discussions about life, purpose, growth, and truth. But many environments are built around distraction instead of reflection, entertainment instead of understanding. So the chosen often walk a quieter path. There is also a period where many chosen individuals doubt themselves. They wonder if they are imagining things. They question their instincts. This doubt is natural, because the world constantly tells people to ignore their inner awareness and rely only on external validation. But deep down, you know what you feel, and that inner voice becomes harder to ignore with time. The truth being seen is not always dramatic. It rarely arrives with loud announcements or clear signs. Instead, it appears through quiet realizations. Moments where you suddenly understand something that once confused you. Moments where patterns suddenly make sense. Moments where you realize you have outgrown the person you used to be. Another reality of the chosen path is learning patience. Awakening does not happen overnight. It unfolds gradually, sometimes over many years. There will be periods of clarity, and there will be periods where everything feels uncertain again. But each stage adds another layer of understanding. One powerful sign of awakening is the loss of interest in superficial success. Many chosen individuals begin questioning goals that once seemed important. Status, approval, competition. These things start to feel empty when compared to purpose and inner growth. This shift confuses many people around you because they cannot understand why you no longer chase the same things. But your priorities are changing. Chosen individuals also tend to become observers of human behavior. They notice emotional patterns, motivations, and reactions more clearly. This awareness helps them navigate life with more wisdom. But it also means they can no longer ignore certain truths about the world. And that awareness requires strength. Another part of the journey involves letting go of old identities, old environments, sometimes even relationships that no longer align with your growth. This can be painful, but growth often requires space, and space sometimes appears through separation. It is not rejection, it is realignment. One important truth is that awakening is not about feeling superior. It is about becoming more responsible with knowledge and awareness. The more clearly you see, the more carefully you must walk. Humility becomes essential, because awareness without humility can easily turn into ego. Chosen individuals also begin to notice how distraction is constantly promoted in modern life. Endless noise, endless content, endless stimulation, all designed to keep people from slowing down and thinking deeply. But awakening requires stillness, moments of silence where you can actually hear your own thoughts. Another shift many chosen individuals experience is a deeper connection with purpose. Not necessarily a specific career, but a sense that their life must contribute something meaningful. They feel drawn to truth, guidance, healing, or wisdom. They want their presence to bring clarity, not confusion. And that desire shapes the direction of their life. As truth begins to surface more openly in the world, chosen individuals often feel a strange mixture of relief and caution. Relief because things they sensed for years are finally being discussed. Caution because truth can also create resistance and conflict. But progress always begins with awareness. Many awakened individuals also discover that their greatest strength is not force, but clarity. They do not need to convince everyone. They simply live with integrity. And integrity speaks louder than arguments. Over time, the chosen learn that awakening is not about escaping the world. It is about navigating it with wisdom. Remaining grounded, remaining balanced, remaining aware, without becoming consumed by negativity. This balance is part of the journey. Another powerful realization is that truth does not need to be shouted to be powerful. Sometimes quiet understanding is enough. You do not need everyone to agree with you. You only need to stay aligned with what you know is right. Chosen individuals also learn the importance of protecting their energy. Not every conversation deserves their attention. Not every debate needs their response. Discernment becomes essential, because energy spent on endless arguments cannot be used for growth. As awakening deepens, many chosen individuals become more compassionate. They realize that most people are not intentionally ignorant. They are simply conditioned. They were taught what to believe before they ever had the chance to question it. Understanding this brings patience. One of the most empowering stages of awakening is when fear begins to lose its control, not because life becomes easier, but because your perspective becomes stronger. You stop living based on approval. You start living based on truth. And that shift changes everything. The truth being seen does not mean the world instantly transforms. Change takes time. But awareness spreads slowly. One person begins to question, then another, then another. And eventually, what was once hidden becomes impossible to ignore. If you have been feeling different, questioning deeper, noticing things others overlook, there is a reason. You are not imagining it. You are becoming aware. And awareness is the first step toward real understanding. The path of the chosen is not easy. It requires courage, patience, and humility. But it also brings clarity. A clarity that allows you to move through life with purpose instead of confusion. And that clarity is powerful. So if this message resonates with you, do not ignore that feeling. Stay grounded, keep seeking truth, keep growing in wisdom. And most importantly, never silence your awareness just to make others comfortable. If this message spoke to you, make sure you like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Return to Awakening for more content that challenges illusions and encourages deeper understanding. Because the truth is no longer hiding. And those who are ready to see it already are. As awareness grows, chosen individuals often begin to notice something else. The way truth slowly exposes what was once hidden. Situations that once seemed random start revealing patterns. Behaviors that once confused you suddenly make sense. It is as if layers of reality begin peeling back, one by one. And the deeper you see, the clearer everything becomes. This clarity does not arrive all at once. It unfolds gradually, sometimes through uncomfortable realizations. You may start seeing through manipulation that once fooled you. You may recognize when people speak from insecurity rather than honesty. These realizations can feel heavy at first, but they also bring freedom. Because once you recognize deception, it loses its power over you. Many chosen individuals also discover that their intuition becomes stronger over time. A quiet inner signal that guides decisions. A subtle feeling that warns you when something is not right. This inner awareness does not shout. It whispers. But the more you listen to it, the clearer it becomes. At first, you may doubt it. You may second-guess yourself. But experience begins to confirm what you feel. Moments where you trusted that inner voice and avoided problems. Moments where you sensed truth before it became obvious. These experiences slowly build confidence in your awareness. Another stage of the journey involves understanding that not everyone is meant to walk the same path at the same time. This realization brings maturity. You stop trying to wake everyone up. Because awakening cannot be forced. It happens when someone is ready to question their reality. Until that moment arrives, no explanation will truly reach them. Chosen individuals learn this lesson through experience. They try to share their perspective, hoping others will understand. But often they are met with confusion or resistance, not because their words are wrong, but because timing matters. Truth only resonates when someone is prepared to hear it. This is why patience becomes one of the greatest strengths of the awakened. Instead of pushing, they observe. Instead of arguing, they grow. Instead of trying to control outcomes, they focus on living with integrity. Over time, people begin noticing something different about them. A calm presence, a sense of awareness that cannot easily be shaken. It is not loud or dramatic, but it is noticeable. Chosen individuals often become quiet anchors in chaotic environments. While others react emotionally, they pause and think. While others rush into confusion, they step back and analyze. This ability to remain centered becomes one of their greatest strengths. But developing that strength requires discipline. It means learning how to control emotional reactions. It means resisting the urge to respond to every challenge immediately. Instead, they learn to respond with intention. Another powerful realization along the journey is understanding that truth does not always bring comfort. Sometimes it reveals uncomfortable realities about the world and about ourselves. Awakening requires honesty. Honesty about your strengths, but also honesty about your flaws. Chosen individuals often go through periods of intense self-reflection. They examine their habits, their motivations, their reactions. Not to judge themselves harshly, but to grow. Because real awareness begins with understanding yourself. Many awakened individuals also notice that their tolerance for negativity begins to shrink. Environments filled with gossip, manipulation, or constant drama become exhausting. They start seeking peace instead. This does not mean escaping reality. It means protecting the clarity they have worked so hard to develop. Peace becomes valuable. Silence becomes meaningful. Time alone becomes a place of growth rather than loneliness. Another stage of awakening involves recognizing how fear has been used as a tool throughout society. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of standing out. These fears keep many people from questioning the world around them. But chosen individuals slowly begin releasing these fears. Not completely, fear is part of being human. But they stop letting fear control their decisions. They realize that living in truth requires courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite it. There is also a moment when many chosen individuals realize they no longer need constant validation. They stop seeking approval from people who do not understand their journey. This shift is incredibly freeing because it allows them to focus on purpose rather than popularity. They stop shaping their identity based on external opinions. Instead, they begin living according to their values. This change often surprises people around them. Some admire it, others feel threatened by it. Because authenticity challenges the comfort of conformity. But chosen individuals accept that not everyone will understand their path. And that is okay. Another sign that truth is being seen is the growing desire for meaningful impact. Many awakened individuals feel drawn toward helping others in some way. Not through forceful persuasion, but through guidance, wisdom, or example. They understand that real influence comes through actions, not just words. By living with integrity, they naturally inspire curiosity in others. People begin asking questions. People begin noticing the calm strength in their presence. And slowly awareness spreads. Chosen individuals also learn that growth never truly stops. Awakening is not a final destination. It is an ongoing process. Every stage reveals new lessons, new perspectives, new responsibilities. What you understand today may evolve tomorrow. And that is part of the journey. Because truth is vast, and the deeper you explore it, the more you realize how much there is still to learn. This realization keeps the awakened humble. They do not claim to know everything. They remain open to growth. Another important lesson chosen individuals discover is the power of discernment. Not every opportunity deserves attention. Not every voice deserves influence. Discernment allows them to filter distractions, to focus on what truly matters. And in a world filled with endless noise, this ability becomes incredibly valuable. Chosen individuals also begin recognizing the importance of balance. Awareness does not mean becoming detached from life. It means engaging with life wisely. maintaining relationships with care, pursuing goals with purpose, contributing to the world with integrity. Awakening is not about isolation. It is about conscious participation, living in the world while remaining aware of deeper truths. This balance allows chosen individuals to move through life with quiet strength. They do not need to dominate conversations. They do not need to prove their awareness. Their understanding simply shapes how they live. And that silent influence can be powerful. Over time, more people begin sensing that something in the world is shifting. Questions that were once ignored are now being asked openly. Conversations that were once dismissed are now being explored. Truth has a way of surfacing when enough people begin seeking it. And those who have been aware for years recognize this moment. They realize they were not alone in what they felt. The clarity they carried quietly is now starting to appear in the wider world. But with this shift also comes responsibility, because awareness must be handled with wisdom. Chosen individuals must remain grounded. They must avoid arrogance, avoid anger, and avoid the temptation to judge others harshly. Because awakening is not about division. It is about understanding. And understanding requires patience. Understanding also brings a deeper awareness of human struggle. When your perspective expands, you begin to see that many people are simply navigating life with the tools they were given. Some were taught to question everything. Others were taught never to question at all. This difference alone can shape the direction of an entire life. And once you recognize that, judgment slowly turns into compassion. Chosen individuals begin to see beyond surface behavior. They recognize that anger often hides pain, arrogance often hides insecurity, silence often hides fear. These realizations do not excuse harmful actions, but they do reveal the deeper complexity of human nature. This awareness changes the way you interact with people. Instead of reacting immediately, you observe. Instead of assuming the worst, you try to understand the forces shaping someone's behavior. And while this does not make every situation easier, it does make your responses wiser. Another realization many chosen individuals experience is the importance of protecting their focus. In a world filled with endless distractions, focus becomes a rare skill. Every day, countless voices compete for attention. Opinions, arguments, controversies, trends. But not all of them deserve your energy. The awakened learn to choose carefully where they place their attention, because attention is power. What you focus on shapes your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your direction in life. This is why many chosen individuals become selective about the information they consume. They seek knowledge that expands understanding, not noise that clouds the mind. Clarity becomes a priority, and protecting that clarity becomes a daily practice. As the truth becomes more visible in the world, another challenge emerges for chosen individuals: the challenge of staying balanced while witnessing change. When you see systems shifting and old beliefs being questioned, it can create both excitement and uncertainty. But balance is essential. Awareness should never lead to constant anxiety. Instead, it should lead to thoughtful action and steady growth. Chosen individuals understand that real transformation takes time. They do not rush the process. They focus on strengthening themselves so they can navigate change with stability rather than panic. This inner stability becomes one of their greatest assets. Another stage of awakening involves recognizing that your environment plays a powerful role in your growth. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, the ideas you surround yourself with, all of these influence your mindset. Chosen individuals begin evaluating their environments more carefully. They gravitate toward spaces where growth is encouraged, where honesty is valued, where curiosity is welcomed instead of dismissed. And when they find those environments, they nurture them. because healthy environments allow awareness to flourish rather than fade. At the same time, chosen individuals understand that they cannot control every environment they encounter. Life will still bring difficult situations, challenging personalities, and unexpected obstacles. But awareness gives them an advantage. They respond with patience instead of impulsiveness. They think before reacting. They recognize when silence is more powerful than confrontation. These decisions may seem small, but over time they shape a completely different path. Another powerful realization comes when chosen individuals begin to trust their journey instead of constantly comparing themselves to others. In a world obsessed with competition and status, it can be tempting to measure your progress against someone else's timeline. But awakening follows a different rhythm. Your path may move slower in some areas and faster in others. What matters is not how quickly you advance, but how deeply you understand. Chosen individuals begin valuing depth over speed. They would rather develop real wisdom slowly than chase temporary recognition quickly. This shift protects them from many of the pressures that dominate modern society. They stop chasing every opportunity that promises quick success. Instead, they focus on opportunities that align with their values and long-term purpose. And this approach brings a quiet confidence. Not loud, not boastful, just steady. Another stage of the journey involves embracing responsibility. Awareness is powerful, but it also requires discipline. The more clearly you see the world, the more carefully you must choose your actions. Your words carry influence. Your decisions affect others. Chosen individuals recognize that their growth is not only for themselves, it also shapes how they contribute to the world around them. This does not mean they must become leaders or public figures. Sometimes influence is much quieter than that. A thoughtful conversation, a calm presence during chaos, honest guidance when someone feels lost. Small actions can create powerful ripple effects. Chosen individuals understand this. And because of that, they become more mindful about how they show up in everyday life. Another realization that emerges along the path is the importance of resilience. Awakening does not eliminate challenges. In many ways, it reveals them more clearly. You see injustice more clearly. You notice manipulation more quickly. You recognize when systems fail people. These realizations can be heavy. But resilience allows chosen individuals to face these truths without becoming overwhelmed by them. They learn to balance awareness with hope. They recognize that while problems exist, progress is also possible. History has always been shaped by individuals who refuse to ignore truth. And change often begins with a few people willing to think differently. This understanding strengthens the chosen. They realize their role is not to fix everything alone. Their role is to remain honest, aware, and grounded in their values. And sometimes, that alone can inspire powerful change. Another sign that truth is being seen is the increasing number of people beginning to question long-accepted assumptions. Ideas that once seemed unquestionable are now being examined more carefully. People are asking deeper questions about purpose, integrity, and meaning. These conversations were once rare. Now they are becoming more common. Chosen individuals often notice this shift earlier than others. They sense the growing curiosity around them. And while not everyone will reach the same conclusions, the act of questioning itself is significant. Because questioning is the beginning of awareness. It signals a willingness to look beyond surface explanations. And that willingness changes everything. As more people begin exploring deeper questions, the world gradually becomes a place where truth has more room to exist. But with greater awareness also comes the need for humility. Chosen individuals must remember that awakening is not about claiming superiority. It is about understanding responsibility. The more clearly you see, the more important it becomes to remain patient with those who are still discovering their path. Everyone moves at their own pace, and sometimes the most powerful influence is simply living your life with honesty and clarity. When others see that strength, it sparks curiosity. When curiosity appears, learning begins. And when learning begins, awareness grows. This is how quiet transformation spreads. Not through force, but through example. Chosen individuals understand this. They focus on becoming the best version of themselves, knowing that growth itself is a form of guidance. Because when someone sees a person living with integrity, balance, and purpose, it challenges the idea that confusion and chaos are the only options. It shows that another way of living is possible. And sometimes that single example is enough to start someone else's awakening. As the journey continues, many chosen individuals begin to understand something even deeper. Awakening is not only about seeing the world clearly, it is also about seeing yourself clearly. The strengths you carry, the weaknesses you must face, the habits that build you and the habits that slowly hold you back. This level of honesty is not easy, but it is necessary. Because real transformation does not happen through denial. It happens through awareness and responsibility. Chosen individuals eventually realize that their growth depends on the discipline they build within themselves. Discipline in how they think, discipline in how they react, discipline in how they use their time. While others may drift through life reacting to every situation emotionally, the awakened learn to pause. They step back. They observe their own reactions before responding. This simple practice creates a powerful difference. Another realization emerges with time. The truth being seen does not mean chaos must follow. Awareness does not require constant conflict with the world around you. In fact, the strongest chosen individuals often carry a calm presence. They do not chase arguments. They do not waste energy proving themselves. They understand that clarity does not need to fight for attention. It naturally reveals itself through consistency. People eventually notice the difference between someone who speaks with understanding and someone who simply repeats what they hear. Chosen individuals focus on understanding, and understanding requires patience. There will be moments when the world feels overwhelming, moments when the weight of awareness feels heavy, when you notice problems that others seem comfortable ignoring. During these moments, balance becomes essential. The awakened must remember that their role is not to carry the entire world on their shoulders. Their responsibility is to maintain their clarity and contribute where they can. One step at a time. Another stage of awakening involves redefining success. Many people measure success through wealth, recognition, or status, but chosen individuals often begin to see success differently. Success becomes inner stability. Success becomes living with integrity. Success becomes having the courage to remain truthful, even when it is inconvenient. This perspective changes everything. It removes the pressure to constantly compete with others. It replaces that pressure with a focus on personal growth. Chosen individuals start asking themselves different questions. Not how can I impress others, but how can I improve my character? Not how can I gain attention, but how can I live with purpose? These questions lead to deeper fulfillment. Another truth that becomes clear is that the chosen path is not about perfection. Mistakes will still happen. Doubt will still appear. There will still be moments where you question your direction. But awareness helps you recover faster. Instead of staying lost for years, you recognize when you are drifting away from your values. You adjust your course. This ability to correct yourself is incredibly powerful. It turns every challenge into a lesson rather than a defeat. Chosen individuals also begin to notice that many of the loudest voices in the world are not always the wisest ones. Often, the most thoughtful people speak less but observe more. They think carefully before offering their perspective, because they understand the impact words can have. This thoughtful communication becomes another strength. When they do speak, people listen, not because of volume, but because of depth. Another lesson along the journey involves learning when to let go of control. Many people try to force outcomes in life. They push situations, manipulate circumstances, or try to control every detail. But the awakened begin to understand that not everything can be controlled. Sometimes the most powerful action is allowing life to unfold, while remaining prepared to respond wisely. This does not mean becoming passive. It means recognizing the difference between influence and control. You can influence your decisions, your mindset, your actions, but you cannot control every external event. Accepting this truth brings peace. Chosen individuals also develop a stronger relationship with time. They stop rushing every process. They understand that meaningful growth takes patience. A strong character is not built in a single moment. It is built through consistent effort across years. Each experience adds another layer of understanding. Each challenge strengthens resilience. And slowly, the person you are becoming begins to reflect the awareness you have gained. Another powerful shift happens when chosen individuals stop fearing solitude. Early in the journey, loneliness can feel painful. It can feel like separation from the world. But over time, solitude transforms into something different. It becomes a place of clarity, a space where your thoughts can settle without constant interference. In solitude, you begin understanding yourself more deeply. You reflect on your decisions. You evaluate your direction. You reconnect with the purpose guiding your path. And this quiet reflection becomes one of the most valuable tools for growth. Chosen individuals also start recognizing that influence does not require a large audience. Real impact often begins with a single person, a single conversation, a single moment of honesty, a single act of integrity. These moments may seem small at first, but their effects can travel far beyond what you see. Because when someone experiences genuine clarity or encouragement, it can shift their entire perspective. And that shift can affect every decision they make afterward. This is how change spreads quietly through the world. Not always through massive events, but through countless small awakenings happening in individual lives. Chosen individuals understand this process. They focus on authenticity rather than popularity. They focus on truth rather than performance. Another realization that emerges over time is that the path of awareness requires emotional strength. When you see deeper patterns in the world, you will also encounter disappointment. Not everyone will choose growth. Not every system will change quickly. Some people will resist truth, even when it stands directly in front of them. But emotional strength allows the awakened to accept this reality without losing hope. They continue growing. They continue learning. They continue contributing where they can. Because their purpose is not dependent on universal approval. It is guided by conviction. And conviction gives them the strength to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. Another sign that the truth is finally being seen is the quiet rise of people seeking authenticity. Across different parts of the world, individuals are beginning to question empty promises and superficial identities. They want real conversations, real purpose, real integrity. Chosen individuals often recognize this shift before it becomes obvious. They see more people stepping away from distractions and asking deeper questions about life, direction, and meaning. This growing curiosity is powerful because curiosity opens the door to understanding, and understanding opens the door to transformation. The awakened know that every era in history has moments where awareness begins expanding, moments where people start questioning long-standing assumptions, moments where new perspectives begin emerging. These moments are not always comfortable, but they are necessary for progress. Chosen individuals do not fear these shifts. They prepare for them. They strengthen their character. They deepen their understanding. And they remain grounded while the world continues evolving. Because when truth begins surfacing, those who are prepared with wisdom become steady voices during uncertain times. And steady voices are needed when the world begins to change.